Hello viewers, and welcome to another episode of Smart Thunder, the YouTube series in which I give you a variety of tips, tricks and explanations about the game of War Thunder and its many features. In this episode I'm going to be talking to you about the RP-6 rocket, a British anti-armor rocket designed in the Second World War. The RP-6 rocket was first tested in 1942. It first saw combat in desert operations in North Africa. The initial reports were very good. Compared to the Vickers P cannon, which was mounted on some Hurricanes, it was reported that this rocket could penetrate the armour of a Tiger tank. Some reports even came back that a whole Tiger tank turret came off. The first time we see the RP-6 is with the British line at Tier 2 with the Hurricane Mark II. It can carry 6 RP-6 rockets. Unfortunately, a lot of the time, Hurricane pilots seem to believe that the RP-6 is actually an air-to-air weapon. Although its initial design purpose was never to be an air-to-air weapon, it was designed to knock out tanks and any armoured targets on the ground. Here I have a list of RAF aircraft that managed to use the RP-6 rocket. The list is actually quite long. Both the Lend-Lease Fortress and the Lend-Lease Liberator managed to use the RP-6 rocket, which is quite impressive bearing in mind that they are both 4-engined aircraft and have a wingspan which is about the size of your average hangar. The Mosquito managed to use 8 RP-6 rockets or 10 RP-6 rockets. These would both be 4 or 5 underneath the wing. This also goes along with the Viewfighter, which managed to use, as far as I know, 10 RP-6 rockets underneath the wings in similar positions to the Mosquito. Both the Hurricane and Typhoon, made by the same company, Hawker, managed to use the RP-6 rocket. The RP-6 rocket was used on the Hurricane in packs of 6, and in the Typhoon it was used in packs of 8. The Typhoon had the layout of either 4 underneath each wing, or 2 underneath each wing, and then another 2 underneath those wings. As well as these other aircraft, the Republic P-47 Thunderbolt also used this, as well as using the HVAR rocket that we know in game. Surprisingly, there are some Wikipedia pages about the later Wellington variants managing to use the RP-6 rocket. I have no information about this, same as the Liberator and Fortress, but all I know is there's a lot of sources that say that it used it somehow. The Swordfish used 6 underwing rockets, 3 on each side, and finally Lend-Lease Avenger aircraft managed to use the RP-6 rocket as well. In the realistic mode of War Thunder, the RP-6 rocket can be hard to use if you don't know how to use it. So here I'll have a short explanation as to how you should use the RP-6 rocket. Here you can see the features of the attack path when you're using the RP-6 rocket. I've set up a small simulation to show you. You can see here that the distance between me and the target is very small. This is because the Hurricane can maneuver, as well as the fact that the RP-6 needs to be aimed very close to the target in order for the convergence to hit the target. See, the RP-6 uses similar convergences to your main guns, except for I think it's about 2/3 of that size. So if it was, for example, 600 meters, the actual RP-6 rocket convergence is around 400 meters, which presents a small problem. You can see here I'm closing in on moving targets. Now, another thing you'll notice when I'm using the RP-6 is I level my wings before I shoot. This is important because if your wings aren't level, your rockets won't be level, and therefore very odd things happen. As we come around for a second pass, I can show you that because I'm flying quite low to the ground, my wings are going to be level naturally, otherwise I'd hit something. And at that point, that one there, I actually use the right hand rocket to destroy the tank instead of both of them. This is another method you can use, in which you will use one rocket specifically to destroy the tank instead of both of them. This method is easier if your target is moving rather quickly, for example, again here. However, I missed that one because of my wing. As with most rocket attacks in aircraft, it is not advisable to come up behind the tank because it has a thinner area to shoot, and the fact that the projectiles that you're shooting are wing mounted normally, so they have a higher chance of just shooting straight past the target, as you saw in the previous one. Again, I'm going to show this, but I actually get it in the wing because it's at an angle instead. So if you're going to go for an attacking run in using the RP-6, since they're quite slow compared to other rockets, I suggest you go perpendicular to the target you're trying to shoot at. As another piece of advice then, not necessarily to do with the usage of the RP-6 or where you aim, it's more about when you use the RP-6. If you're going to do ground attack, make sure you're dedicated and make sure you're protected. Get a squad mate or somebody from the other team to try and escort you. It's better that you're protected and last longer as a more effective ground attacker than you are rather than flying on your own and probably getting shot down. Remember that the RP-6 is heavy and cumbersome and can obstruct your flight path, meaning that your performance of your aircraft will be significantly slower than normal. This is quite important on the later models of Spitfires, which are normally seen. The RP-6 is normally seen at lower tiers, we say from tier 2 to tier 3. I haven't seen a video on YouTube yet of any jet players intentionally going out and using the RP-6 because it's just such a hindrance to them really if they're ever going to do combat. So make sure that you're going out as a dedicated unit to attack ground troops and make sure your team knows so that you can be defended and they have no excuse. To conclude then, I thank you all for watching this YouTube video. I hope that if you found it helpful you can press the like button below or on the relevant forum or area which I've put this up. I really appreciate any comments which are helpful, what else you want me to do, anything that you want to see in my videos. In the meantime, this has been Smart Thunder. Thank you very much for watching and I shall see you in the next episode.